Hi ladies, you've all asked for a brow maintenance video, so I thought I'd do that one for you today. This is not meant to be a lesson on how to shape brows. Please leave that to us. This is just some way you can maintain your brows and still feel good about yourself until you can come back in and we can take care of you. So I'll get up as close as I can to the camera. Can't wear my glasses, can't see my brows. So I'm actually using a magnified mirror today, and it's got a light around it. They are very, very good, those things. So if you've ever considered getting one, particularly anyone who wears glasses, then I'd suggest you do. But you can get little cheap magnified mirrors from like the Reject Shop and the pharmacies, those sorts of places. So what we're going to do first of all is just give our brows a little brush up so they're all out of the way. Now I'm using a spoolie, which is like a mascara wand. You can actually use a clean old mascara wand, or some of you might have these brow brushes and combs, anything like that, whatever your preference is. So now that I've got them up out of the way, I'm just going to work on tweezing out any stray hairs that are down on the lower part here of the lid. So I'm not going to work up close to that brow where the line is that I normally take care of. We're just going to get some random stray ones out of the way. So you'll notice that I've got my tweezers on a slant and I'm actually coming in from the side. I'm not coming at my eye like this. So you just want to tweeze the hair in the direction that it's growing. So if it's growing out that way, you just want to clamp it and pull it straight out. And that's the most comfortable way to tweeze. Any random hairs. You'll find if you actually exfoliate before you do this, that all those hairs will be standing up and there won't be any redundant skin laying over the top. So that's always a good tip. Try and exfoliate before you do any tweezing. So I'm going to come back to this side now and just tweeze out any random hairs. Again, I'm not going up there, I'm just tweezing out any down here that make it feel untidy. So we're not shaping the brows, we're just getting any random hairs out that are untidy. Okay, pretty simple so far, doesn't have to be overly complicated. So a good brush up again, and what I'm going to do is, rather than pull any hairs out of the top at this stage, I'm just going to come in with my scissors and give the tiniest little trim just to shape it in line there, and then a little brush out. Tiny trim. We're talking a fraction of a mil, we're not talking a lot of hair. You can get scissors with rounded ends on them, but for some people the thought of trying to trim their eyebrows is just too hard. So you can actually get little shaver devices, usually from places like the Shaver Shop, Priceline, that sort of thing. And they're just the size of a little pen torch. They're quite thin, and they've got the tiniest little electric shaver on the end, and you can put a little guard over it like you would an electric shaver, and you can actually wipe that straight over your brow, and that's going to trim any excess hairs off for you. Okay, so I'll put a note in my at the end of my article and show you some examples of those. They're quite good, and if you can pick them up reasonably inexpensively for around $20–25. You can also use them under the chin here on any stray little hormonal hairs, because if you're trying to tweeze out hairs from under your chin, you'll know it's virtually impossible to see them in the mirror. So what you need to do basically at the moment, until you can get back to us to do your sugaring or your waxing, is to just keep them trimmed so that you still feel nice about yourself, and you can still occasionally put on a bit of makeup or BB cream or something to make you feel good without hair sticking out everywhere. So back to our brows. We've done our tweezing just around the bottom part here, and we've brushed them up and we've trimmed them at the top. So now I'm just going to brush them a little bit in shape, the shape that I want them to be. And I'm going to sit back from the mirror and have a good look and figure out, are my brows sitting on my brow bone? Are they doing a bit of a surprise sort of look? What sort of shape are my eyebrows? Okay, and that's when we can then consider going in and just tweezing out any little hairs that you think are standing outside the lines. So it's very easy for me, obviously, because I look after brows all the time. But you need to take your time with it. Do a few hairs on one brow, come back in, and do a few hairs on the other brow to match. So then it's never going to be 100% perfect. So we're working up really close to the brow now. We're just trimming out any little hairs. Then we're going to sit back again, have another look. I think I've got a reasonably good line there. So what I'm going to do now to check my work is, you might have a brow pencil that you use. A lot of my ladies use the Fibre Brow Enhancer. If you haven't got one of these, I'd suggest you give it a go. It's quite magical. It has little fibres and brows in it, and it's a powder a little bit like eyeshadow. So it's not going to give you stark, harsh lines, and it sets in 60 seconds. So it's super quick and easy to use. So you can tap off any excess that's on the little applicator brush, and the applicator brush has a little pointed end and you can move it around. So with this one, you literally just pat it on to build out your brow, which is great if you're unable to get your tinting done, because you can fill in those spots that I normally get with the tint. So you can see the difference in this brow to this one, and that's all I've done. I've done it really quickly. You can actually go through that and just soften it out. And if you want to get a nice sharp sort of edge, you can just dab that on. So again, we're just looking for maintenance here. We're not looking for brow shaping, okay? So I'm going to come up closer and let you guys have a good look. These Fibre Brow Enhancers come in all different shades, but this is the extra light, and I actually find most people are happy with the extra light. Occasionally I'll order in a light for somebody who likes darker brows, but honestly you really don't need these to be particularly dark. It's quite effective. But the good thing is this is like a makeup product, but it doesn't smudge during the day. So if you do mess it up, you can always go back in and wipe it off with a little pad or a cloth and start again. It's that simple. So I'm going to go and have a little look now that I've got that colour there. It's much easier to see if there's any little hairs sticking outside the lines that I want. Working up closer to the brow. Sometimes you might need to hold the skin taut and take it different angles with your tweezers. That's it, really. If you do feel you need to tweeze up the top of your brow, similar rules. Do anything that's standing out, particularly up here along the hairline, if there's any darker hairs that stand out that you want to get rid of, and then take your time and work back closer to the brow if you feel you need to shape it a little bit. Don't go crazy. Stand back sometimes it helps to even go and have a walk, go to a different mirror in the house, stand back and have a little look. Do they look even? Or this one might look a little bit thicker than the other. And then you go back to your close mirror and you know what you're looking for. So I'll show you this little kit that comes. You can either buy these fibre brow enhancers in their little box like that, or you can get a kit that has some beautiful clear gel if you like that nice groomed sort of laminated sort of brow look. And these tweezers, my customers tell me, are the best things ever, the silk tweezers. They're very similar to the manicure ones you can buy in the shops. So both of those are on my website if you feel that you'd like to have a look at those. So we've talked about brows, we've talked about getting those little chin hairs. Look, you can tweeze them, same sort of principle, but just giving them a little shave with a very gentle device is a really good idea until you can come back to me and you can have your sugaring done. I hope that helps. So please send through any questions if there's anything I've forgotten to cover, and I look forward to our next DIY video.